A poor single dad let a strange girl stay for one night, not knowing she was a rich man's daughter and would fall in love with him.
The storm raged like the heavens had cracked open. Rain slashed sideways, turning sidewalks into rivers, and streetlights flickered like dying candles in the wind. Jack hunched his shoulders against the downpour, his city cleaning uniform soaked through. His shift had ended an hour ago, but the walk home felt longer tonight. Then he saw her. A girl, no, a young woman, stood under a flickering streetlight, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Even drenched, her clothes screamed money. Designer jeans, a silk blouse now plastered to her skin, leather boots that probably cost more than his monthly rent. But it was her eyes that stopped him. Wide, wild, the kind of fear you only see in prey animals right before the predator strikes. "You shouldn't be here alone," Jack said, voice low but firm over the drumming rain. She whirled around, startled. Water dripped from her dark hair, her mascara smudged like storm clouds under her eyes. For a second, she looked like she might bolt. Then, her chin lifted. "I don't need your pity." Jack didn't move closer. He knew how this looked, a big guy in a work uniform approaching a stranded girl at 2 a.m., so he kept his distance, hands visible. Not pity, just offering a warm place to sleep. No knives, no creeps. Her throat worked as she swallowed. He could see the debate in her eyes. Trust him or risk the streets? A shudder racked her body. "I got robbed," she admitted, the fight leaking out of her voice. "My phone's dead, my bag's gone. I have nowhere to go." Jack exhaled. He had rules. Never bring strangers home, never risk Lily's safety. But the girl's knuckles were white where she gripped her own arms, and the way she kept glancing down the alley, like someone might be hunting her, made his gut twist. "My place is 2 blocks away. Couch is yours for the night. Door locks from the inside. You want to leave at dawn? No questions." She stared at him. Rain dripped off her nose. Then, just when he thought she'd refuse, she gave the tiniest nod. No thanks, no smile, just a silent surrender. Jack turned, leading the way through the storm. Behind him, her footsteps splashed in the puddles, steady but hesitant, like she was walking into the unknown. And maybe she was, because neither of them knew yet, this night would change everything.
The moment Emma stepped inside, warmth wrapped around her like a blanket. The air smelled of crayons, laundry soap, and something faintly sweet, maybe syrup from breakfast. A single lamp cast a dim glow over the small living room, revealing a space that was undeniably lived in. Toys were scattered across the floor, a stuffed elephant missing one eye, a tower of wooden blocks half collapsed near the coffee table. A child's drawings covered the fridge, held up by rainbow magnets. Emma's designer shoes squeaked against the linoleum as she took it all in, her fingers tightening around the towel Jack had handed her. This wasn't just a house, it was a home, and it felt alien to her. Jack moved quietly, as if used to tiptoeing around. He gestured to the couch, a worn but clean piece of furniture, with a crocheted blanket draped over one arm. "Bathroom's down the hall if you want to dry off," he said, his voice low. "I'll get you some clothes." She didn't move. The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken questions. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why help me?" Jack paused, his back to her as he rummaged through a drawer. For a moment, she thought he wouldn't answer. Then he turned, holding out an oversized sweatshirt and a pair of sweatpants. "Someday, my daughter might need help too." Emma's breath caught. Daughter. The word hit her like a physical thing. Her fingers twitched around the towel, nails digging into the fabric. Jack noticed. Of course he did. He didn't miss much. But he didn't push. just set the clothes on the arm of the couch and nodded toward the hallway. "Take your time." She didn't thank him. Couldn't. The words stuck in her throat, tangled up with something she couldn't name. The bathroom was small, the mirror fogged from the shower someone had taken earlier. Emma locked the door behind her and finally let herself breathe. Her reflection stared back, a stranger with smudged eyeliner and damp, tangled hair. What the hell am I doing here? But the water ran hot, and for the first time in days, she didn't have to look over her shoulder. When she came out, the house was quiet. Jack was gone, probably to his own room. The couch had been made up with a pillow and the crocheted blanket. A note sat on the coffee table, written in hasty scrawl. "House phone's on the wall. Don't wake my kid." Emma picked it up, tracing the words with her thumb. No demands, no expectations, just quiet trust. Outside, the rain tapped against the window like a lullaby. She curled up on the couch, pulling the blanket over her shoulders. It smelled faintly of fabric softener, and something else, something warm and safe. For the first time in days, she slept.
Emma woke to the sound of giggles, bright and bubbly, like soda poured over ice. Sunlight streamed through half-drawn curtains, painting stripes of gold across the living room. She blinked, disoriented, the unfamiliar blanket tangled around her legs. Then she saw her, a tiny hurricane of wild brown curls and missing front teeth, standing 2 inches from Emma's face. "You're the princess who slept on our couch," the girl announced, as if this was the most exciting discovery of her 6-year-old life. Emma sat up too fast, her hair falling into her eyes. What?" "Lily," Jack's voice came from the kitchen, followed by the sizzle of something in the pan. "Stop interrogating our guest." Lily ignored him. She plopped onto the couch, her knees bumping against Emma's. "Daddy said you got rained on. I got rained on once at the zoo, and a kangaroo looked at me funny." She nodded solemnly. "Do you like pancakes shaped like dinosaurs?" Before Emma could answer, a crash came from the kitchen, followed by Jack's muttered curse. The kitchen was a war zone. Eggshells littered the counter, a tower of dirty bowls teetered near the sink, and Jack, shirt sleeves rolled up to reveal strong forearms dusted with dark hair, was scowling at a smoking pan. "Morning," he said, without looking up. "Coffee's on the counter." Emma hesitated in the doorway. She'd never been in a kitchen like this, not one that felt alive. Her family's chefs worked in spotless stainless steel spaces, every movement precise. This was chaos. Beautiful, human chaos. Lily tugged her hand. "Daddy burns stuff a lot." "I do not," Jack protested, flipping a blackened piece of toast. "Okay, maybe a little." Something warm bubbled in Emma's chest. "Need help?" Jack raised an eyebrow. "You cook?" "Not even a little." His grin was sudden, lighting up his whole face. "Perfect! You'll fit right in." 5 minutes later, Emma learned 3 things. Eggs were trickier than they looked. Smoke detectors were loud, and Jack laughed with his whole body. Head thrown back, shoulders shaking. "Okay," he wheezed, waving smoke away from the detector. "Maybe less oil next time." Emma stared at the charcoal-like substance formerly known as scrambled eggs. "I told you I was bad at this." Lily poked the blackened mess with a fork. "It looks like dinosaur poop." Jack snatched a bite before Emma could stop him. He chewed thoughtfully. "Not bad." "You're lying," Emma accused. "Nah," he stole another bite. "First tries are always messy." Later, while clearing plates, Emma saw Jack slipping a fresh plate of perfectly fluffy eggs to Lily when he thought no one was looking. Her breath caught.
No grand gesture, no show, just quiet, constant care. This man was different. Different from the polished suits who'd brought her jewelry but never remembered her favorite color. Different from the fathers who measured love in allowances and expectations. Jack's love was in burnt toast and secret eggs, in laughter that filled cracks she didn't know she had. Emma turned away before he could see her eyes shining, but for the first time in years, maybe ever, she wished someone would look at her that way too.
The laundromat smelled of bleach and regret. Emma's arms burned as she hauled another overflowing basket of wet towels onto the folding table. 10 hours in, and her nails were chipped, her shoulders screaming, her once manicured hands now red and puckered from detergent. A customer had just yelled at her for mixing up their delicates. She leaned against the vibrating dryer, letting the warmth seep into her aching back. Through the streaked window, she watched people walk by, college students with backpacks, mothers pushing strollers, all moving freely while she stood trapped in this humid prison of other people's laundry. Her feet were the worst. The cheap shoes she'd bought at the thrift store had rubbed raw blisters on both heels. Every step sent sharp needles of pain up her legs. Morning 2. Emma limped into the living room, wincing as her socks stuck to the half-healed wounds. Then she froze. There, placed neatly by the door like some kind of miracle, sat a pair of pristine white sneakers, the kind with cloud-like soles and arch support that probably cost more than Jack made in a week. A small note poked out from inside one shoe. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded it. If you walk away, walk without pain. No signature, no explanation, just Jack being Jack. She pressed the note to her chest, eyes stinging. In her world, gifts always came with strings, expectations, obligations, guilt. This came with nothing but quiet understanding. The gold necklace incident. It happened during the lunch rush. Emma was elbow-deep in a load of hospital scrubs when she felt something cold slither through her fingers. Before she could react, the delicate gold chain slithered out from between the folds of fabric and landed with a tiny clink on the sorting table. The sapphire pendant, her 18th birthday present from father, caught the fluorescent lights, scattering blue fire across the dingy walls. Emma's blood turned to ice. A shadow fell across the necklace. Jack stood there, a basket of folded towels in his arms. His eyes locked onto the jewel, then slowly traveled up to meet hers. "That's not something broke students own," he said quietly. The air left Emma's lungs. All the lies she'd told, student, no family, no money, hung between them, as fragile as the chain in her shaking hands. Jack didn't yell, didn't demand answers, just waited, his expression unreadable. In that heartbeat of silence, Emma realized the game was up. The washing machines were thumping their steady rhythm when the bell over the laundromat door jingled too sharply. Emma looked up from folding towels to see a man in a leather jacket standing in the doorway, phone already raised. The camera flash blinded her. "Well, well," the man drawled, checking the screen. "Emma Harrington, your daddy's offering 6 figures to anyone who finds his missing princess." His grin showed too many teeth. "Guess I just hit the jackpot." Emma's blood turned to ice. The towel slipped from her fingers. Behind the counter, Jack's head snapped up. He took in the scene, the leering stranger, Emma's pale face, and moved before she could blink. "Out, now." His hand closed around her wrist, pulling her toward the back as the man shouted after them. The alley smelled of garbage and wet concrete. Emma's lungs burned as they ran, Jack's grip unbreakable. When they reached his truck, he finally turned on her, chest heaving. "Start talking," he demanded, voice rough. "Who the hell are you?" Rain dripped from Emma's lashes, mixing with the tears she couldn't stop. "My full name is Emma Catherine Harrington," she whispered. "My father owns Harrington Global." Jack went very still. Even in the dim light, she saw the moment he recognized the name, the billion-dollar conglomerate, the constant media presence. I ran because I couldn't breathe. Every moment scheduled, every friendship vetted, every decision made for me. That world, everything has a price tag, except love, and that's the one thing they wouldn't give me. Jack's jaw worked. She could see him putting it together. The necklace, the way she didn't know how to cook, the blisters from shoes she'd never had to break in. Headlights cut through the alley. A black limousine glided to a stop, its tinted window rolling down just enough to reveal a sliver of a familiar profile. Emma. Her father's voice hadn't changed, cool, commanding, leaving no room for argument. "Get in the car." The door opened. A uniformed driver waited, eyes forward. Emma turned to Jack, her heart hammering. His face was unreadable in the shadows. Somewhere in the distance, a siren wailed.
The limousine's interior smelled of leather and expensive cologne, a scent that used to mean safety, now just made Emma's stomach turn. Outside the window, Jack stood like a statue in the pouring rain, his work shirt plastered to his shoulders, his hands slowly curling into fists at his sides. Winston Harrington didn't bother to look at the man as he adjusted his cufflinks. "Honestly, Emma, a sanitation worker." His voice dripped with disdain. "This place, these people, they're beneath you." The car engine purred. Emma pressed her palm against the cool glass, her breath fogging it briefly before the defroster erased the mark. Through the rain-streaked window, she saw Jack's mouth move. Just 2 words, unmistakable even without sound. "Your choice." Her father finally glanced out the window. "That's the difference between us and them, darling. They think love is enough." He pressed the window control with one manicured finger. "We know better." As the tinted glass slid up, cutting off her last view of Jack, Emma realized 3 terrible truths. Her father hadn't asked if she wanted to come home. He'd told her. The car door hadn't been locked. Her hand hadn't even tried the handle. The partition rose, sealing her in silence. The limousine pulled away from the curb, the world outside blurring into streaks of neon and rain. Somewhere behind them, a little girl would wake up tomorrow, asking where the couch princess went. Emma closed her eyes as the first tear fell. The hospital lights buzzed like angry wasps, too bright against Jack's sleepless eyes. 3 days without Emma. 3 days of Lily's fever climbing higher, her small body shaking under thin hospital blankets. "We need $6,000 to admit her." The receptionist's voice sounded far away. Jack's fingers trembled as he emptied his wallet. A crumpled 20, some loose change, a grocery coupon. His throat tightened. He'd sold his truck yesterday, pawned his watch this morning. It still wasn't enough. "Please," he rasped, hands braced on the counter. "She's 6 years old." The receptionist's mouth opened, then snapped shut as a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "I've got it." Jack turned. Emma. Dressed in simple jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. No designer labels, no diamond earrings, just Emma holding out a black credit card with steady fingers. The world tilted. Lily slept fitfully in the hospital bed, an IV taped to her tiny hand. Jack stood by the window, watching raindrops slide down the glass. "Why?" The word tore from him, raw and rough. "Why come back?" Emma didn't flinch. She touched Lily's forehead, brushing back damp curls. "That night at the laundromat, you asked me what love costs. It turns out it's not money. It's showing up when it hurts." A monitor beeped. Somewhere down the hall, a baby cried. Jack studied her.
the shadows under her eyes, the way her sweater sleeves were too long, like she'd borrowed them from someone else. "You left your whole world." Emma smiled faintly. "No, I finally found it."
The penthouse elevator doors slid open to reveal a marble foyer colder than the winter skyline outside. Emma's footsteps echoed as she crossed the threshold, no longer the hesitant girl who'd left weeks ago, but a woman who'd slept on a couch and earned blisters from honest work. Winston Harrington stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, his reflection a perfect imitation of the steel and glass city below. He didn't turn. "I knew you'd come crawling back." Emma set her car keys on the quartz counter, the only item she'd taken from the Harrington estate. "I'm not staying." That made him turn. "That man," Winston spat, "can't give you security, status, a future." Emma touched the chipped polish on her nails, remnants of laundromat work. "He gives me mornings, burnt toast, and a little girl who thinks I'm a princess." Her father's laugh was sharp as broken crystal. "Sentimental nonsense. You'll regret this." "Maybe, but it'll be my regret to have." For the first time in her life, Winston Harrington looked uncertain. The elevator descended 60 floors. With each level, Emma shed another layer of the Harrington legacy, the weight of expectations, the fear of disapproval. When the doors opened, Jack leaned against his borrowed pickup truck outside, Lily waving madly from the back seat. No limousines, no bodyguards, just a family waiting in the rain. The knock came at 5:17 a.m., just as the sky was turning the soft purple of a healing bruise. Jack opened the door to find Emma standing there, drenched in morning dew and trembling with something that wasn't the cold. In her hands, a paper bag of still-warm blueberry muffins, grease spots blooming on the brown paper. At her feet, a single duffel bag with a broken zipper. No designer luggage, no security detail, just Emma. The moment that changed everything. Lily's shriek of joy could have woken the whole neighborhood. She came barreling down the hallway in unicorn pajamas, launching herself at Emma's legs. "You came back!" Jack couldn't speak. He just stared at the woman in his doorway, her hair a mess, her sneakers muddy, her eyes brighter than he'd ever seen them. Emma crouched to hug Lily, then looked up at Jack. "I don't know how to do this," she admitted, voice cracking, "but I want to learn." Jack took the muffins, then he took her hand. The Jack and Emma's Jammin' Eats food truck was a disaster. Emma burned the first batch of pancakes, Jack oversalted the eggs, Lily's special recipe lemonade could have stripped paint, but the line stretched around the block anyway. As Emma handed a customer their order, her engagement ring, simple, silver, no diamonds, caught the sunlight. Jack's arm slid around her waist, his lips brushing her flour-dusted temple. No palaces, no private jets, just a crooked awning, sticky fingers, and love so loud it drowned out all the ghosts of the past. We invite you to join Midnight Stories if this story strikes a chord with you, makes you smile, or stirs up strong emotions in you. Each story is meant to uplift, heal, and remind you of the beauty that comes from human connection. Share this story with someone who believes in kindness and second chances by clicking the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell. Keep your heart open till we cross paths again, because you never know when someone might ask, "Can I join you here?"